Some truck drivers say they're planning on refusing shipments to and from New York City in protest of that $355 million verdict against the former president in his business fraud trial.
What I'm hearing, this is real. We'll see.
Donald Trump does so well with blue-collar workers. Those truckers that are saying, hey, we're not going to deliver to New York City, that's the heart and soul of the Trump movement. And Democrats can't stand it. They don't understand it. They don't like it, but they try to fight back with these stupid op-eds that make no sense.
There was a big win for Trump this weekend, hours after he launched his new sneaker line in a surprise visit to SneakerCon in Philadelphia. The gold never surrender high tops officially sold out. No word yet on if the limited supply of $399 kicks will be restocked.
MG, Donald J. Trump is nothing to be played with. When I tell you this story, if you don't have respect for this man after I tell you this story, it's something wrong with you. It's something wrong with you. So the judge in New York, everybody know he got fined for $395 million. Donald J. Trump turns around and sells a pair of tennis shoes for $395 a piece. They sold out within 3 hours. And he got every penny that the judge sued him for.
Every time they try to say Trump, they try to stop him at a trial, or they try to throw all of this, sludge at him, he somehow survives, which must drive his opponents crazy, because even the sneaker thing, I was on social media last night. Very interesting, as you see black support eroding from Joe Biden. This is connecting with Black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics. And Trump understands culture like no politician I've ever seen.
Elena Cardone, the wife of wealthy real estate investor Grant Cardone, created a GoFundMe page called Stand With Trump, fund the $355 million unjust judgment. Her husband explained on X that 100% of funds will be forwarded to the Trump Organization for his defense of this ridiculous judgment.
Then, after all of this, late Friday, Judge Arthur Engoron released his verdict in New York Attorney General Letitia James's fraud trial against President Trump, ordering Trump to pay more than $355 million in fines, while barring Trump from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation or other legal entity in New York for a period of 3 years. Of course, New York, where he built his empire. Joining me right now with more in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, great to see you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Great to be with you.
Your reaction to all of this?
Look, I think we are seeing a systematic and sustained assault on the rule of law. We're seeing an assault on the Constitution, and we're seeing fundamentally an assault on democracy. What has happened in Washington, it's really frightening and it's really sad. Democrats have become radicalized, and they have decided that partisan politics matters more than the rule of law. They're willing to weaponize the Department of Justice. They're willing to utterly abuse government power to try to stay in power. The judge's decision in New York is an outrage. This was a partisan Democrat judge adjudicating on a case brought by a partisan Democrat attorney general. Letitia James campaigned on saying, I'm going to get Donald Trump. She got in front of this smirking, sanctimonious partisan Democrat who then, in that case, understand this judge just ordered Donald Trump to pay over $350 million for an offense that had no victim, that involved giant international banks that made money, didn't lose money, and that were eager to loan more money. And the entire thesis of it was, well, they say Trump overstated the value of his real estate. The last I checked, these banks were not fragile, vulnerable.
Today, justice has been served. Today, we prove that no one is above the law. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules.
We're also seeing former President Donald Trump being barred from being a director or leader of any corporation. in the state of New York for the next 3 years.
Made it very clear on their loan applications that they were disclaiming their evaluation and saying that the banks and the insurance companies and everybody else should do their own evaluation. And that's what the business world, that's how it works.
At some point, New Yorkers have to wonder, is this really what we want from a legal system? It is raw and it's political.
Find this developer. Forget that it's Trump. This is not about Trump anymore. If you're a developer and you see this happen in the state of New York, why would you take the risk to put up this much money and have a judge arbitrarily decide that you are in some form of breach of fraud when no damages occurred at all? And this is the same process that occurs everywhere.
3 drivers that I drive with, they already vibrated the boss and told them they ain't going to New York City. So I don't know how far across the country this is, or how many truckers are going to start denying loads to going to New York City. But I'll tell you what, our bosses ain't going to care if we deny the loads. We'll just go somewhere else.
Meanwhile, a Chicago Ray says he and other truckers are irate over Judge Arthur N. Gorin's fining former President Trump more than $355 million for fraud. Ray, like the former president, believes it's a form of election interference. Meanwhile, we talked to one driver who says she's joining the movement to boycott New York City. And she says if things go as planned, the city could pay a big price.
It could shut New York City down. And, you know, I don't want to hurt the people of New York. That's not what I'm trying to do. But my part in it, if New York just loses 10%, just 10% of the trucks that go in there, their prices are going to skyrocket on everything from milk to eggs to any type of goods that the consumer needs. And when that happens, it's going to cost everybody more money.
Well, certainly if truck drivers were to boycott New York City, the impact has the potential to be very damaging and very quickly. We're talking about supermarkets, big box stores, and other businesses that rely heavily on trucking. They would feel the pinch, and so would their customers. About 90% of communities here in New York City rely heavily on trucking to move their goods.